Khobragade sir, maybe he is in big meeting, so I think we should start now, sir. Good afternoon, all the respected faculty members joining us for this FDP, and good afternoon, our session expert, Dr. Jayesh Ruikar. I welcome you on behalf of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Lonere, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to our participants today. Dr. Jayesh Ruikar completed PhD in Electrical Engineering from NIT Silchar, Assam in 2019. His research interest is in statistical image processing. He completed MTech in Electronics and Telecommunication from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Raigad in 2012 and BTech in Electronics and Telecommunication from STGS Nanded in 2010. Currently, he is working as assistant professor in electrical engineering at Bajaj Institute of Technology, Varda, Maharashtra. He's he have total research and teaching experience of more than 8 years. He published his research work at reputed journals and conferences at international and national level. He was headed at chair position of IEEE student branch NIT Silchar. He is currently working as Vice President at Institute Innovation Cell BIT Varda and Innovation Activity Coordinator at Institute of Innovation Cell BIT Varda. He also completed Innovation Ambassador Training Program. He is one of the mentor for the first prize in Tech Hydra for Smart India on 2020 Hardware Edition competition. He is also mentor for 7 students team in Swadeshi Microprocessors Challenge organized by Government of India, which reached quarter-final stage. He's mentor of the students for many other competitions. He's one of the member of community projects funded and handled by Shiksha Mandal. He's co-convener of National Conference on Integration Human Values in Professional Educational during 12 to 13 June 2018. And he's handling many other important responsibilities in BIT Vardha. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of DBATU family again, and I request you to start the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam, for introducing audience. Thank you, S.V. Khobragade sir, Dr. S.V. Khobragade sir, for giving me an opportunity to speak on this relevant topic in this Atal FDP. So, very good afternoon to all of you. I will speak upon what is the prototype and identifying the best ideas. So, if you have 100 of, you can say, new smart objects, or you can see the apps there are in right now, it is in the market. And with all this competition, how do you know that whatever your idea is there will be influential? Because there are 100 of new smart objects, or you can say apps are coming day by day. And if you are familiar with the business, and if you've done some kind of market research, or you can say some viable sector where you can propose your prototype or your product, or if you are working with a team that has an idea and you are rushing towards the minimum viable products. But the question is, how do you know that whatever your product is there, that becomes ideal for the customers in order to use that particular products? How do your team you can say pursued in the right directions, or you can say the right solutions for that particular problem? So uh, prototyping, and you can say when we talk about prototyping, okay, so these are the contents. So what is prototype, what are the prototype examples, we'll discuss. Then why we require prototype, okay. Fidelity of the prototypes, the 5 dimensions of the fidelity, process of prototyping, and identifying the best ideas. This we will discuss today in today's session. So when we talk about what is prototype, so prototype, or you can say user testing, or you can say feedback, when once we get a kind of feedbacks on the prototype, okay, so it becomes a viable product. So prototype and the user testing is, you can say, the best way to make valuable products that are impactful for the users. So if you creating a better prototype, okay, If you create a better prototypes throughout of your process, you will get a valuable feedback, and that will improve your product. Okay, so what is prototype? So everything is a prototype. Whatever you have seen, that is everything is a prototype. Okay, so whatever I have written, so each thing that you make an activity that you can be improved. Okay, nothing is, you can say, you are completely finished, or you can say simply run out of time for the current release. Even if you have even if you have a product and you are very much happy with your product that you delivered, your user will have some kind of feedback on that product. So there are some, you can say, bound, or you can say some changes are required, depends upon your future, depends upon the feedback, and then your product, or you can say future of that particular product, or you can say different kind of releases are there. Okay, that will change. So no matter how many times you test your prototype, you will always be find that something new to improve in your product. Okay, so what is prototype? What is prototype? Prototype, as I said, that it's everything is a prototype. So each thing that you make, or you can say activity that you can do, that can be improved, that is, we can call it as a prototype. So nothing is ever completely finished, or you can say it can be uh, as I said that we have mobile phones now. There are versions of mobile phones like Oppo A3s or F5 or something like that. So there are versions. Okay, they have made a prototype. Okay, basic building blocks of that, and they are now improving. So definition of prototypes, if we talk about, okay, so what Oxford is saying. So Oxford is saying whatever that I have written here. Okay, so prototype is nothing but a first typical or preliminary model of something, especially a machine from which other forms are developed or copied. So it's a prototype is nothing but a preliminary model. Okay, preliminary model, and you can say, from that preliminary model you are able to develop that particular things by either by copying or by improving something in that particular copy. Okay, so this word, if we talk about this word prototypes, it's originated from Greeks. And what is the meaning of that? The meaning is the first example. Okay, so if we go with this example, or if we go with this definition, so anything that takes an idea out of your head and makes it visible to others may be considered as a prototype. Okay, so anything that takes an idea out of your head and makes it visible to others may be considered as a prototype. The critical element that you can say this definition is missing, that is, you can say intention to test, or you can say the feedback, or you can say improve your prototype over the time. This is not there. So if we again redefine our prototype, so our definition of prototype moving forward again, so a manifestation of an idea into a format that communicates the idea to others, or you can say test with sorry test with the user with the intention to improve that particular idea over particular time. Okay, so you may prefer some kind of more specific definition for the prototype. However, I ask you to keep an you can say your mindset should be open what prototyping might be, or how it might incorporate the skills into all the areas of work or and life. Okay, so your prototyping definition will again we can say it will change. So, if you see this broad definition, which will allows you to think about how can prototype or you can say any kind of idea in your life. You might you might see in here this image, or you can say this sketch of floor plan. Okay, so floor plan, you can say before you move into your new house, or try out some, you can say, few different kind of furniture arrangement in your home before finalizing how to set up your living room. So each person you interact with has her own preconceived notion of what prototype is. Okay, so even you have a base understanding of what you think a prototype must be. Okay, so if you take an example, so a developer, the developer might believe that prototype has to be made in a code. Okay, and that will be eventually be used in production of that particular code. Okay, what designer thinks? Designer might think that prototypes are, you can say, it's like a clickable. So what designer has things? So it has made a design, and it can be a clickable components, or you can say clickable mockups. Okay, it can be a clickable mockups. Okay, that they are creating some kind of programs in terms of sketches, in terms of InVision. Okay, uh, 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 so that is what the designer thinks of. What business stakeholders think of? The business stakeholders thinks that the prototype is nothing but a proof of concept that is fully functional and can be used by their sales teams for the client demonstration. Okay, so definition of prototypes for different kind of personality is different. Okay, so at its fundamental core, a prototype can simulate a behavior or experience without even needing a representation for its, you can say, tangible embodiment. Each of this idea is valid. Okay, but it has some limitations on what a prototype can be, limitations on what a prototype can be. So here, Chris Milne, a prototyper of IDEO, okay, what he suggested, he calls that prototyping is nothing but an interview. Prototyping is nothing but an interview where your idea must impress you with its application, or the prototype's function must impress users when they interact with it. Or by prototyping, you are allowing your ideas to interact with the user in safe place. That we can say. So the broader definition allows us to apply prototyping in many stages of product development. And to expand the scope of this prototyping, okay, what is mean by scope? Scope means nothing but the extent of the area, or you can say a subject matter that something deals with, or to which it is relevant. That is, we can call it as a scope. So when you expand your scope of your prototype, you are creating more and more opportunity in that particular area. Okay, if you create a more and more opportunity in that particular area, you will get more and more test, or you can say more and more you will get a feedback. Okay, so what is considered a prototype is nothing but, you can say, uh, uh, it's a debating topic for, you can say, when we talk about a designer, when we talk about a coder, or business stakeholders. Okay, so the main conflict arises when we talked about interactive prototype, or when we talk about a static prototype. Okay, what do you understand by interactive prototype? In this particular image, you can see that at the left side, okay, I'm representing a static prototype, and at the right side, I'm representing an interactive prototype. Okay, so these are the two viewpoints. Okay, these are the two viewpoints. So some designer may believe that the prototyping is anything that can be testable, okay, or that can be improvable. That is what the prototype. Okay, some other can say that the prototype is especially an interactive version of the idea. Okay, so then that is what the difference between the static prototype and the interactive prototype. So these two viewpoints, if you talk about, okay, both are viewpoints are valid, both viewpoints are valid, but the second one, which we talk about, that has, you can say, some kind of limitations. So if you choose to see everything as a prototype, like interactive or static, and use of some kind of opportunities or assumptions by any means, okay, you will develop a mindset to, you can say, incremental improvement, or you can say constant feedback for that particular product. Okay, so this is what. So when we talk prototype, when we talk about this prototype, so prototype is a mindset. That is what I'm talking about. So prototype is not just kind of, it's not a checkbox, okay, that you tick mark that checkbox and it is finished. Okay, so it's not like that. So prototype is a mindset where you are comfortable with testing some unfinished ideas in order to make some in order to get some best results possible out of that particular idea. So it may feel uncomfortable at first to show some kind of unfinished work. We can call it as ugly work. Okay, so I know that when I started testing each prototypes, I felt some kind of apprehensive that my work would be judged, or you can say it can be deemed unfit, or it deemed unfit to interact with. Okay, so I would cringe when users struggle to get throughout that particular task. Okay, so showing unfinished or ugly work, okay, may feels like goes against the grain and the nature. So you may feel that your work should be either displayed, okay, or you can say it can be finished, or it can be a polished, it can be a perfect design. Okay, to be successful, you must build a comfort with vulnerability and to open up for the feedbacks. So whatever you are presenting to somewhere, okay, prototyping, that may be a finished work, and then you must incorporate whatever the challenges or changes which is given by that particular present. So if you make a prototype like this, okay, so it will have a longer term benefits. Okay, it will have a longer term benefits. Even if you talk about the feedback from your users or colleagues, okay, it will be also helpful. So to guess, okay, to get most of the benefits from your prototype, you must incorporate it in every, you can say, every part of your product. Okay, whenever you got any call from the customer or any feedback from the customer, that you should incorporate in particular your design. Okay, so so yes, so you can show your user that how you are flowing. Okay, so user flow I'm discussing with in the next PPTs. Okay, and you can share the wireframes, or you can say the electrical circuit diagrams. Okay, while discussing. Okay, that will definitely improve your prototype. Now, when we talk about prototype examples, so there are variety of industries are there, and all sort of industries, they create their prototype for their work. Okay, and they test that particular prototype. Okay, test, and then again after testing, again after feedback, okay, they improve their ideas. Okay, they made again that prototype again. Okay, so prototype can benefit in any industries. Okay, and it can refine, or you can say it can improve your prototype. So if you take an example of architects, so architect must develop some kind of complex system that includes some kind of buildings. Okay, you can say for circulation, for structural integrity, or heating. Okay, heating, cooling system. Okay, everything should be incorporated in that particular complex system. Okay, so architecture, if you given any kind of plan to that, he will incorporate all these things in that particular design. Okay, in that particular design. So they design this whole experience of building by implementing, you can say, by improving all the aspects. Okay, like they need to draw that particular thing, they need to model, again they will need to test that particular system. Okay, so some of the prototypes, if you talk about like floor plan. Okay, so they test for the ventilation, they test for the how the air circulation will be there. Okay, what is the lighting. Okay, daylight models. Okay, likewise they will prepare. So each of these prototype has some specific uses, and they improve their building based upon the testing models. Okay, so they test that particular prototype, and then they can improve that particular thing. Okay, particular model. So using prototypes, which allows architects to communicate design decisions with the clients. Okay, so architecture, they communicate design decisions with the clients. Okay, at the same time they communicate the can say specifications to the engineer who is working over there. Okay, who is working on the field particularly. Okay, so this is what the total can say relations. Okay, relations. So here in this particular diagram, you can see that the next example, if we take about industrial electronics. Okay, so or you can say industrial design, we will talk about. So when developing uh, uh, when developing in industrial designing. Okay, so so you need to design new shapes, or you can say new forms, or the physical products. Okay, industrial designer means they have, you can say, huge quantities of prototyping. So they daily they are developing any prototypes in the industries. Okay, so they have to design new shapes, you can say, they have to design new forms of the physical product. Okay, and every time they are testing that particular product with along with that design ergonomics. Okay, so it's you can say it's easy for them to use, or you can say easy them to form the design. Okay, because they have that kind of resources. Some of their prototypes, you can see that here the pillar they have designed. So they have huge quantities of prototypes. Okay, they have tested that prototypes. Okay, so multiple varieties they can make. Other things you can see in these sketches. Okay, the sketches. What so some of the prototypes includes, you can say, a multiple of sketches, okay, or you can say foam types models, or material, some kind of material studies, or some kind of aesthetic models, okay, or some kind of final forms. Okay, so once they decide on a general form, and they build it in on the proper material and test it for the material for ergonomics kind of things. Okay, so before finalizing, they have to prepare a prototype. Okay, once the prototype is completed or it is in the final form, they need to test it on the material longevity, or you can say for the ergonomics. Okay, so industrial design spend most of the times in the prototyping and testing their ideas before deciding it to the final form of production. Okay, then they can use their prototypes to communicate final decisions to the manufacturer. So once the design, once once the once the design is final, okay, and through all aspects, through you can say a survey, okay, through all aspects, if it is finalized, then they communicate that particular design to the manufacturer. Okay, next we will talk about the personal electronics. So this is also one of the examples. So when we develop a personal electronics, okay, it's again a subset of industrial design. Okay, design. So designers begin with some kind of sketches and they study some kind of forms. Additionally, they will deal with some kind of layer complexity. Okay, layer of complexity we can talk about. Okay, again they can use for choosing or testing some their electrical equipments, okay, or components, and then later on they combine there. Okay, later on they combine in order to in order to form a whole system. Okay, in order to test the whole system how it works. Okay, so the decision they make about the component to use have wider implications about the product and the layout of the final form and the layout of the final form. So for their purpose, they what they do, they break down their system into some kind of small pieces, or you can say testable pieces. They build their prototypes with you can say a larger electronic components. Okay, so initially they work with the electronics components, like they are a larger electronics component. Later on, slowly they combine the system. Okay, and then if their code works properly, okay, with after incorporating all the full functionality of that particular product, they will release that model as a prototype. Okay, and then they will test that particular prototype. So this type of product design requires, you can say, material testing, or you can say parallel processing of prototype. Okay, or if kind of any kind of applications if they are made in order to control that particular device. Okay, so that you can see. So this image shows the basic product. Okay, and then this is what the, after combining everything they have preferred, this is what the combined form, or you can say full form. Then other type of prototypes like softwares or apps. So software design creates a prototype to fully think through how user will interact. Okay, and find their ways through a complex interface. So these prototypes includes user flow to show an ideal user path to determine the functionality that the user will need. Okay, so wireframe is one of the examples. So wireframe in, you can say, testable form, or it can be either a paper or it can be either a clickable format. Okay, so this is what the software, you can see that. Next one is why do we require a prototype? So there are many reasons in order to make your prototypes, and to include that prototype in your process. Okay, so I will explain it in terms of 4 points. Okay, the first point is to understand, to communicate, to test, to improve. Okay, to test and improve, and to advocate. So each of these, if you see, each of these were similar, but there have some unique kind of things. Why do we require a prototype? Okay, why are prototypes valuable, and why you should include them at different parts of your design process. Okay, so the first point is to understand. The first point is to understand. Prototyping is not only to understand the problem you are currently trying to solve. Okay, so if you're trying to make a prototype, okay, and if you have some kind of problems and then you're trying to solve that problem. Okay, but you need to illuminate that alternative solution. Okay, instead of if you have one kind of solutions. Okay, and then if you want if you think that this solution is viable, or okay, so you must have an alternative for this particular solution. Okay, and you need to go at you can say at the depth of that particular problem. Okay, this is a this we call it as problem discovery. Okay, so it can help you, that problem discovery can help you to find out the root cause of the user, or you can say root cause of the user pain, where he has some kind of problems. Okay, so this to understand. Okay, so it will be useful in order to problem discovery through some kind of, you can say, explorative research, or you can say some kind of prototyping. Okay, so so based upon this, okay, based upon this, we have this you can say example. Okay, so example like Segway example is that. Okay, Segway. For example, in Segway, what has he has seen kind of opportunities. So there are pedestrian, okay, who is walking over the road. There are cars who is they are driving on the road. Okay, so what Segway has seen? Segway has seen an opportunity between the pedestrian walking and the car driving. Okay, uh, he has seen only the opportunity in that particular aspect, but he has not spent adequate time. Why Segway failed, that is what the reason I'm talking about. Okay, but they didn't spend kind of, you can say, adequate time in order to research for that, or you can say validate their problem space. Okay, so the problem space is that we have a pedestrian walking and then we have a car driving. Can we find any kind of mid thing in that? Okay, that is what the opportunity which is taken by the Segway, but he has not given full time to researching, or you can say validating their problems. Okay, so but they have decided that they will address this opportunity, or they address with this problem. Okay, and they come up with some kind of solution. Okay, this Segway which you are seeing, in right now. Okay, but there is a problem with that subway. Okay, because they have not made validate their products. Okay, but when Segway hits their market. Okay, so because there are too many assumptions that they need to make. Okay, so likewise the infrastructure, when we talk about, so there is no excess, you can say usable infrastructure is not there for the Segway. Okay, even there are if you think of multiple passengers, so Segway, that is not possible in the Segway. Okay, so these are the problems which we can find it out in the car driving. Okay, so multiple passengers are allowed in the car driving, whereas in Segway that is not possible. Okay, and if you talk about the price, okay, so viability in the price is also one of the point where why the Segway has been failed. So if they have uh, uh, if they had some initial kind of research. Okay, if they had some initial kind of research, they could have been got some alternative solutions, or the solutions that can hit the market. Okay, uh, so that is what the story for the Segway, why they have failed. Okay, uh, next the alternative solutions we will talk about. Uh, so now we have seen that Segway. Okay, so problem with the Segway. So in addition to the understanding the problem, that is what my first point. So understanding to understand. Okay, this is what the first point. In addition to the understanding of that problem, you can explore, or you can understand lot of different ways. Okay, to how to solve. Okay, likewise in the image you can see that there are multiple ways I have shown. Okay, so lot of ways, like problems through, you can say, by drawing. Okay, by prototyping, you can show, okay, particular multiple solutions to that particular problem. So sometimes it's easy to get stuck in your head some kind of single solution, that whatever you have decided to pursue for that particular problem. Okay, you need to try out many variations, that as you're not sticking with that particular original solution. So the best way, if you want to make is to make the best way to check, okay, that your prototype is to make a quick prototype of all different ways. Okay, there are variety of ways to make your prototype. Either you can make it as a simulation model, you can make it as a hardware model. Okay, so by that way you can verify, or by that way you can test the prototype. Okay, otherwise if you made, okay, likewise here you can see that there are one problem is there, okay, that has been defined, and there are, you can see that there are three images. Okay, there are three images. One is what, this is what the image, okay, this is in the first image. Okay, you can compare that particular image. Okay, you can compare that particular three images. Okay, where you can see that there are headlines. Okay, at the downside you can see that menu bar is there. Okay, these are the three lines. Okay, these are the three lines where you can open the menu buttons. Okay, where it is shown in this particular design. So there are three solutions for the same problems. Okay, how your layout will be there in order to in order to make easier for the customer. Okay, in order to make this easier for the customer, right? So you need to interact all your ideas or all your solutions with. So you need to interact all your solutions with the customers. Okay, and then based upon the customer feedback, you need to decide that this is what the problem solution, and that customer survey will not be for a single, or it will be like number of users or number of customers will be there that will be benefited. So their feedbacks will be, so more number of you can say users or more number of customers are there, then your you can say probable whatever solutions you are specifying, that will be you can say hit the market. Okay, so here, yes, so yes, I will go to the next, understanding the strategy. Okay, so when we talk about the strategy, so you can use your prototyping to understand your product strategy. Okay, how you understand the product strategy in order to through, so you can say some kind of uh, 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 goal of that particular user or some kind of competitive landscape you can identify. Okay, there you can identify the product strategy. So any, you can say, artifact that manifests your business direction into, you can say, a tangible object to share, or you can say discuss or improve, will be helpful in order to define your product. Okay, so in the image you can see that this is what the lean canvas model which I have shown, lean business canvas model. Okay, which will help you to articulate different aspects of your strategy, or figure out which area have multiple of risk, or your questions can be answered, or your assumptions that can be tested. So this is what the lean canvas. Okay, so this is what the blank lean canvas I have shown it to you. Okay, and there in the blank link, sorry, the blank template, this blank template helps you to build your business model in order to make your product, that make your product viable, or make your product that your product will sell it. Okay, you can feel this business canvas model. Okay, by solving, or you can say in terms of solution, in terms of cost, in terms of structure, or unique value proposition, unfair advantage, customer segments. Okay, again later on you can go for this kind of revenue streams are there, or cost structure. Once you complete this, okay, this once you complete this, you are at once you complete this, you're at the right direction of your products. So your products may be viable, or it may hit the market. So this is what the to understand the strategy. Okay, then as you see the uh, roadmap. Okay, so define a product roadmap. You need to define the roadmap of your product. So these were the sample photo of the application roadmap. Okay, so in application roadmap we have one kind of internal beta, then beta release, or you can say a general availability. So okay, so you need to define that for Q1. Okay, that is for the today. Okay, so for Q1 I will define whatever the functions will be there. Okay, in that particular applications. Okay, I will upload some kind of photos, I will display some kind of photos. Okay, there is a possibility or provision I will give to follow that user. Okay, so this is what the internal beta. Okay, this is what the at Q1 level. Okay, at Q2 and Q3, at Q1 and sorry, at Q2 and Q3, you will add the provision like uh, uh, liking of that particular photo, or if you want to make a provision of like commenting that particular photo, or user can upload videos. Okay, earlier case it was only for the photos. Now in the beta release it can be like or the comments, okay, or uploading of the videos, right? And in the or you can say in the Q4, okay, at the end of the year, if we measure this, so it's like a filter of your photos or videos, suggested user to follow. Okay, this kind of functionalities you can use. Now understanding the user flow. Okay, so user flow. Uh, uh, so in your process, okay, prototypes helps you to understand how the user flow will be there. Okay, what you will need, you need to design, okay, step by step design. They will identify or they will help you to define the user experience, that is your UX, and they will help you to design the right user experience, sorry, interface, that is UI. Okay, so which includes again that UX and UI. Okay, user interface or you can say user experience includes interactive elements, interactive contents. Okay, you will discover new kind of aspects when you design or when you draw that particular part. Okay, that particular part. So understanding is nothing but the foundational part of your prototyping process, and understanding helps us in order to helpful for conducting the you can say feedback sessions at any stage of the stage. Okay, there are other things which I have mentioned, that is user centric design or user centered design. Okay, so the best way to create your valuable products, that you need to understand who is user, so you need to go for the research and who is user, and to engage that potential user throughout your process by testing your prototype, and then again you will collect the feedback from that particular user. So the first part of user-centered design or user-centric design is fully understand your user. Okay, fully understand your user. So what specific user we are making your products, okay, or a customer will interact, what kind of customer will interact with you in order to buy that particular products. Okay, so if you ask this question, okay, and then if you get an answer that everyone will use your products or only me will use your products, then your product is not going to speak to anyone, specifically if you talk about market. Okay, which is again the problem. Okay, so when you leave these questions, okay, or you can say when you not answer that questions, you will quickly see that user can tell that the product is not designed for them. Okay, so even if you are a user of you can say potential products, uh, you are not only the type of person who will interact with it, and other user don't have an exact same mental you can say mental model, okay, throughout the process. So to learn about the idea, or you can say to learn about the ideal user, okay, you need to build an empathy with them. You need to start by talking with them directly to learn about their habits. Okay, what are the habits of the user, what he likes, okay, what he dislike, or you can take a note of demographic information also. Okay, you can take a demographic information also. These are the factors where you can uh, uh, you can uh, uh, you can make a survey of this. Okay, so this again kind of factors like age is also there, age. Okay, likewise for mobile phones or smartphones, only the young age people are using, but if you talk about the older one, okay, they are not using, even some persons like farmer, or they are not also useful. Okay, so some kind of information, so age range you can say that, or you can say take a note of economical status. Okay, what is economical status for that particular person. Okay, what is income level. Nowadays the phones are coming like 20,000, 40,000, but again the economic status, income level, even educational level. Okay, education level, these are the informations which you can consider. These are the information you can consider from the user. And you need to think of this, these are your users. Okay, so it has income level, what it has education. Okay, so whatever you are making related to this. Okay, so that will be related to the age range, that can be related to the status, that can be related to the likes or dislikes. Okay, so what is the problem you're solving, that also you need to think. Okay, but you don't have to share that problem to the user. Okay, ask them about any kind of difficulty. okay, difficulty, how he has tackled that problem, or that problem has some kind of, you can say, how he has handled, whether it is real kind of problem is there, or whether it is kind perceived, okay, that user have perceived that kind of problems. Okay, so ask them about their daily lives also. Okay, what is your favorite app, what kind of books you are generally reading. Okay, then what TV shows do you generally watch, or what kind of activities you generally do. Okay, so these are the common things. Okay, these are the few things which you need to understand from the user, and that will define how your you can say user flow is there. That will define how the user flow is there. Now if you make this user flow, okay, there are one as is map, okay, as is journey map is there. Okay, so the best way, what you need to find what problem the user is observing. Okay, how they are currently dealing with that particular problem. Okay, so based upon your research or based upon your interaction or interview, you can create as is journey map, which is what is shown it here. Okay, so as is journey map go step by step. So it will take an user experience, okay, whatever the current experience user is having. Okay, it will take up, it will talk about the states, that is what user is doing, what he is thinking, what he is feeling throughout the process. Okay, so once you have that particular journey, you have mapped that particular journey, you can pull up the areas that are not ideal, or you can say and you can create particular solutions in your products or your prototypes. Okay, so once you get that particular pain points in your journey map, you can prioritize, okay, which one is most significant, okay, which one is least significant to your overall experience of that particular user. So while making your prototypes, you need to think of this also. Okay, again one more thing, since you are not the only user, okay, since you are not the only user for this particular product, or you can say, okay, so many of your design decisions will actually based upon the assumptions. Okay, based upon the assumptions. So what kind of assumptions we are talking about? Assumptions means belief. Okay, or you can say whatever the feelings, that feeling that something is true, or the feeling that something will happen. Okay, although it has does not have any kind of, you can say, proof. Okay, so this is what your assumption is nothing but the belief, or you can say assumption is nothing but the feeling, and that belief or feeling you does not have any kind of proof right now. So it may be hard at the first stage to recognize what assumptions you have created. Okay, what assumptions you have created for each decision, whatever decision you have made. Okay, ask yourself if there is any kind of evidence to go back it, or if it is kind of gut feeling of yourself. Okay, you can ask yourself. Okay, and then you can reform that assumptions into kind of questions that can be answered by your user. Okay, that can be answered by your user, or that can be answered by the additional researchers. Okay, you can have a research. Okay, you can have research on that particular answer. So testing your prototype will answer many of these questions by providing your proofs that either supports or invalidate your assumptions. Right, so when you address each of the assumptions, you will have more confidence level. Okay, you will have more confidence level in your idea or in your design. You will know if your user, okay, you know if your user can find their ways, they can complete their goals, and they can be happy with your products. Okay, once you incorporate all these assumptions, and they have some validations. Okay, so by defining or by designing for a specific user. Okay, so keeping a specific user, particular specific user, what is its pain points or the problem that particular user is having. Okay, you need to ideate that particular thing, then you need to design. Okay, and then you are able to find the spot in the market, or that product will be like popular, that product will be popular. Next point is to communicate. Okay, so whatever the prototypes, okay, the prototypes makes the idea in your head visible to other people, including the your teammates. Okay, including your teammates, including your stakeholders, or including your users. So so these are the persons. Okay, these are the powerful, you can say, persons. Okay, or you can say these are the uh, 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 These are the people where you can communicate your idea. So a prototype that you can articulate with the thoughts into the physical, or you can say digital domain. Okay, and it transform fuzziness or transform fuzziness into a concrete model. Okay, so by communication with this, you can say teammates, with the stakeholders, or with the users, you can make your product as a concrete one from a fuzzy one. Okay, so if you don't have a prototype, so okay, if you don't have a prototype, if you think that you don't have a prototype right now, so what will happen? You will talk, you talk with will you so whatever the persons you are presenting that your idea to that person. Okay, so what the person does, the person made their own unique, you can say, uh, mental solution, or you can say mental model, in order to visualize your idea. So for that purpose you require your prototypes. So again, if everyone who is sitting in front of you and they start making their making visualizing your idea, because you don't have a prototype, so it will be difficult to align their expectations. Okay, so different users have different expectations, or their mental model will be different. Okay, how they are visualizing that particular idea, that is also different. So you, for that purpose you require a prototype. So when you use a prototype to communicate, you need to understand who is in your audience. Okay, who is in your audience, or you can say what are the goals for the communicating. Okay, what are the goals for the communicating? So the prototype will make you different if you are presenting, as I told you, if you are presenting to the business stakeholders, or if you are presenting your prototype to the investor. Okay, so their thinking will be different. Even if you uh, if you present your prototype to, you can say, your fellow teammates. Okay, so there also you will find some kind of difference. Okay, there also you can find some kind of difference. Fidelity, yes, fidelity, to test, improve. Okay, so so now you have, if you want to improve your idea. Okay, so you need to collect the feedbacks and then validate or invalidate. So that is what the test. Okay, to test, so you need to either validate the assumptions, or your assumptions will be invalidated. What is assumptions? Assumption is nothing but the belief or the feeling. Okay, and it does not have any kind of proof. So in order to make it as a proof, okay, make it, you need to test your assumptions. Okay, test your assumptions, or you need to test, or you need to validate your assumptions. Okay, so once you test your prototypes, so in that case the results will be either it will validate the assumptions, or it will be invalidate the assumptions, right? So this is what the to test. The next point is to advocate. Okay, so if you have made a prototypes, you need to convince, you will have to convince the business stakeholders that it's the right product. Okay, and it comes out from all the research results, or you can say all this customer survey. Okay, once one prototype. Okay, again, okay, if you made a prototypes, okay, one prototype might be used for multiple reasons. For example, if you use that prototype for test. Okay, so likewise, the methodologies which I have explained, that is for test, then to communicate, then what happened after the test. Okay, but it's best to know the main reasons for the prototypes you are building. Okay, or if it validates with whatever the expectations that is there with the designer. Okay, so there are four, you can say, uh, there are four prototyping, you can say, stages are there. Okay, or the scope, when how to use the prototypes, or in your product development, these are there. Okay, so yes, I was talking about the fidelity for the prototype. So what is fidelity? Fidelity. So fidelity, or you can say choosing particular fidelity level. Okay, so there are fidelity level, like if you search a literature, so it's like a low fidelity, medium fidelity, a high fidelity. Somewhere you can say that mixed fidelity also there. So choosing the correct fidelity level is the critical part of creating your prototype. So what is fidelity? Fidelity means how closely your prototype looks, and how closely how it acts as a finished product. This is what the fidelity. So the proper fidelity level will focus with the whatever the feedback you receive. Okay, so once you get a feedbacks, you are able to find out what is the fidelity level on the proper aspect of the design. Okay, so select your fidelity based upon your goals of the prototype. So fidelity levels are like, as I told you, that high fidelity, low fidelity. Okay, mixed fidelity is also there, medium fidelity is also there. Okay, so when we talk about the low fidelity prototype, so low fidelity prototypes represents a simple and you can say incomplete version of the final product. Okay, so that we are leveling as a low fidelity prototype. So in low fidelity prototype, is some of the features, or they are not visual. Okay, or whatever the contents you are putting, okay, that contents is also not conveyed properly. That is what we call it as a low fidelity prototype. The example which is at the left side, okay, so example is music app. Okay, so low fidelity means incomplete version of your final product. Okay, so if I want to discover, if I want to make a music app, okay, so there are three, you can say, three menu bars I have made, like play music, create playlist, and purchase music. Okay, but if you see that create playlist does not have any kind of, you can say, hierarchy. Purchase music is does not have any kind of hierarchy. Okay, only play music has a hierarchy, that is albums, can be played like songs, it can be a playlist. Okay, so this is what the left side is showing, the low fidelity prototype. Whereas if you see the high fidelity prototype, which is at the right side, okay, so high fidelity means the product, or sorry, the prototype which is more interactive and more functional or high functional. You can see that at the right side. Okay, the same app, music app is there. Okay, there you can see that in the create playlist, there is, you can create a playlist by song, you can create playlist by artist. These are the options which are available. Okay, likewise in the music apps, so this is what one of the software prototype. Okay, then if you want to purchase music, so how you can purchase the music? You can purchase either a single song, or you can purchase either an album. Okay, so this one, right? नंतर करा. Right. Yes, so yes, there are five dimensions of fidelity. One is visual refinement. So whatever your prototype you are doing, okay. So in the left side you can see that, there are some electronic, you can say, prototype has been made. Okay, and the right side you can see that there is whatever that paper type prototype is there. Okay, and at the right side you can see that uh, the refinement. Okay, visual. So